What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Brilliant Stars has been newly released, and on February 25th, there were already some small events on play.limitlesstcg.com. So we'll be looking at results from this 42-person event and this 30-person event. Now, like I said, they are small events. Brilliant Stars just came out, but we're getting an early look at what people want to play in these events. Before we get into it, though, shout out to PotonStore.com, the best place to get PTCGO codes, and use code Celio for 5% off. Also, use code Celio at cardtroopergames.com for physical Pokemon TCG product. Check out PokemonCard.io for all my standard format deck lists and create your own there as well. Brilliant Stars will be updated on there any day. And subscribe to the new Beast Coast Pokemon YouTube channel as well as this channel. So, players are looking to beat Mew VMAX right now. Mew VMAX has been kind of agreed upon to be the best deck in format at the moment, and players are playing a bunch of different dark decks and or just single prize decks in general to try to beat Mew VMAX. This list here is a Hoopa Moltres deck that went 7-1-1, losing to a Rapid Strike Urshifu and beating everything else. So let's take a look at this one. This is a Hoopa Molt list as we've kind of grown accustomed to, but it is playing two new cards from Brilliant Stars. It's using the new Manaphy with Wave Veil that is a bench barrier. Prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. As well as the new Cynthia's Ambition supporter card. Draw 5 cards until you have 5 cards. Draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, draw cards until you have 8 cards in your hand instead. So this is good for single prize decks when your Pokemon are getting knocked out more times per game than they would in a VMAX deck or a V-focused deck. Now, this isn't only single prize Pokemon. It does play the Sableye V. Sableye V is really good because once you poke the opponent with a Hoopa Assault Gate, then Sableye V's Crazy Claws can knock out just about anything, and then Quick Shooting can also set up Sableye V to knock out a lot of stuff as well, as with the help of Zigzagoon. Additionally, Tapu Koko is played to have a free retreater, so you can easily switch into Hoopa to do your Assault Gate 90, and then Galarian Moltres gets increasingly strong as the game goes on to be doing more damage with Fiery Wrath. So I expect to see this deck around a lot, and, you know, just in general, a lot of dark decks. We'll see here somebody else was playing a Moltres Hoopa Inteleon deck, but this one with Galarian Weezing also in top 8, also pretty similar to that list we just looked at. This is not playing Cynthia's Ambition. It's also not playing Manaphy, but it is playing Choice Belt from the new set. But let's see what their matchups were like. Could Manaphy have helped them at all? Well, no, they didn't play it against any bench damage specific decks, but they did end up losing to Mew Genesect, actually. So Mew Genesect was able to overcome the bad matchup there against that Hoopa Molt, but not in the finals. Moving over to this other tournament, this had 30 players in it, and Eternatus VMAX won this tournament. So Eternatus VMAX, a name you might not have heard for a little while. It got some buffs with the new set. It got Choice Belt, so now that 270 damage cap turns into 300 damage cap, and you have Galarian Zigzagoons as well, so it can one-shot anything. But, oh, excuse me, potentially more importantly, Mew VMAX is weak to Eternatus VMAX, and there's not a ton of Path to the Peak decks out there either. It's mostly Gengar VMAX and Jolteon VMAX running Path to the Peak. So if you dodge those, you're kind of free to just have this huge board. And then against Mew VMAX, you're hitting for Dark Weakness anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So Vinny Fernandez was able to win the smaller event, going 8-0-1, beating Suicune, Mew, Mad Party, Malamar, Leafeon, and Zacian, Zamazenta. So beating a whole bunch of different decks, not just Mew VMAX with Eternatus VMAX. And then we also have multiple Gengar VMAX decks in top 8 here. This one looking to just be really consistent, playing the 4 Cramomatic, 4 Battle VIP Pass, 4 Quick Ball, 3 Ultra Ball to try to get out your Houndours and bench Gengar really early. Just flood the board with Houndours so you can get as many single strike energy into play as you need. 4 Path to the Peak for disruption, but also Tower of Darkness, so if they need to use their Crobat V, they can bump the Path to the Peak to use Dark Asset, and then also use Tower of Darkness to draw some cards. So I think Gengar is in a really good position because it's so aggressive, and Choice Belt adds a lot to this deck, but this player actually did not play any Choice Belt, which I think is quite odd. So let's see if the other Gengar VMAX in top 8 was using Choice Belt. Nope. No Choice Belts anywhere. Did I click the same deck twice? No, these are different lists. Just they're not playing Choice Belt. I do think Choice Belt's very good for Gengar though, so probably play that, but these players apparently did not need Choice Belt. Beating Rayquaza VMAX, Hoopa Moltres. Let's see what this was. An Arceus V-Star Galarian Birds deck. Mew VMAX, Malamar, and then eventually losing to Zacian Zamazenta. So it looks like dark decks are doing really well because Mew VMAX is the best deck in format. So some of these dark decks will probably find themselves being the not the best deck in format, but right under there. So things to watch out for are Gengar VMAX, Baby Hoopa Moltres, Galarian Weezing paired with the Hoopa and Moltres, the Surf-fetched Bird Box style deck where you play Galarian Zapdos non-V as well as the Galarian Moltres non-V with Galarian Surf-fetched V. And single prize decks in general, we're seeing a lot of Malamar pop up, even some Decidueye and Teleon, which is a little bit odd, not exactly what I would expect, but we're seeing that pop up a little bit. And also Mad Party, Durant, with the new double turbo energy now has more energies to use, so people are trying to use Durant as a mill deck. But single prize decks seem to be quite viable right now, but especially dark decks and single prize decks that are dark, just because Mew VMAX is so strong with the addition of Ultra Ball, Double Turbo, and Choice Belt, and it's so popular as well. Let's just look at the metagame. It's a small amount of people, but Mew Genesect being the deck that had the most representation out of 40 people, and then out of 30 people, Mew Genesect being the deck with the most representation. So these are very, very small sample sizes, and keep that in mind, but I do think this will translate pretty equally over into the larger tournaments as well. And then I'm expecting most like the top couple decks and a lot of the percentage of tournaments I'm expecting to be like Mew Genesect like 10 to 20%, and then decks specifically trying to beat Mew Genesect being like 20% plus, and then the rest of the meta. So not only do you want to be good against Mew Genesect, but you also want to be good against the decks trying to beat Mew Genesect. Just want to do that little metagame update today for you guys with the dark decks doing really well. Be sure to subscribe to this channel though for daily Pokemon TCG content, and leave a like and a comment. What's your favorite dark deck to play, and did you expect dark decks to be doing this well right off the bat? I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.